What we're saying, so something I want to talk about today, which is again and again I'm seeing holding people back from getting to where they want to in their rehab, in their training, whether it be after knee injury, whether it be after pain, whether it be after any kind of injury. And there's not going to be too many slides in this. It's just going to be me kind of ranting about it because it's something that's been on my mind so much, and we're seeing that the clients actually follow this and get this into their head versus the clients that don't. The clients that do see way faster results, way better results. They see more long-term results than the people that don't get into their head. And I like to call the concept A to B versus intent. So our lift, a squat is not just a squat, right? A squat, you can either just move it A to B, or you can really, really hold that intent in that squat and move it exactly how you want to move it. So we want to be thinking about that, not just can I get this bar from the ground up to me standing, but actually how do I get it there? Because our bodies are so smart. If we have a knee injury, or if we have a lack of strength in an area, if we have a weak link, our body will compensate to try and bypass that weak link. It's so smart, and you see this even in plyos, you see it in return to sport kind of stuff. If you look at Neymar's training at the end of his ACL rehab, for example, you can see that in his plyos, yeah, he's doing quad dominant exercises and plyometrics, but he's using his hips so much so they no longer become like these quad dominant things which you think of. Because he's leaning so far forward, compensating with his hips, taking the load off his knee because he's not confident, he's not comfortable, and he doesn't have the strength in his knee to actually be able to take all the load that we're supposed to. So when we're doing stuff like triple hop test, when we're doing stuff that's trying to get us back into sport, we need to not only think, and this goes for all training in general, not just that return to sport side, but when we're doing any exercise, we need to think, actually, why are we doing this exercise? Not just like, okay, this is a good exercise for my body. It's like, how do we do the exercise? Why is this exercise so good? And how do I get the most out of each and every rep? Literally want to chase the perfect rep every single rep. And with most of my clients, I'll literally be like, okay, we're going to perfect rep failure. I don't want you to try and like lift as much as you can and like keep going if you can't hold that form perfect. We know that the re-injury rates for people coming off knee surgery, for people coming just have pain, all these people going back into their sport, they're getting re-injured again. We know that the rates are so high, and they're too high to what they should be. Obviously, there's different factors that go into this. There's a bunch of factors, but this is definitely one of the factors that goes into it. It's this thinking of ego and A to B versus the thinking of intent of how am I actually performing this? Can my knee handle it? Rather than thinking about, can I just get this lift A to B? We need to think about how we are getting that lift there. So when we think about this, for example, and this, I see this over and over again, like people come to me 6, 7, 8, 9 months off surgery, or 4 months into like a physio rehab, or 4 months into some other kind of rehab, whatever it is, and they think they're super strong, and they're like, yeah, I just want to do the return to sport stuff, like we're not really doing that much return to sport stuff with my current thing. And then they come in and we test their strength and mobility and see where they're at. They're nowhere near how strong they think they should be, because they've been using the wrong metrics. They've been using box squats, they've been using leg press, and a lot of the stuff you can easily bypass the quad. You can bypass the actual knee joint by just leaning forward a little more with your hips, doing something different. So then we put them on something like a polyquin step up, which, keeping our hips super vertical, people literally are struggling on like 2 inches, like 7, 8, 9 months post-surgery. So many months down the line of their rehab, and all their rehab has been powering up their hips, and they're thinking they're so close to getting back to sport, when really we want to extend that timeline now, because we know that their knee joint can't handle the force that they're producing. And you think about it, another joint dominant exercise like the VMO squat, like if I try to get someone on that, there's no chance that they're being able to do that, because it's actually knee dominant. We're actually using our quads, using our knees, and we're not used to doing that. We're really thinking about squeezing those hamstrings and quads together, keeping that torso completely vertical, and people can't do it at all. So we have standards inside of our program. We have a lot of standards which are numbers, but we don't want our ego to start hitting those numbers. So I done this a lot when at different points of my lifetime. I'm very ego driven in the way that I lift, so I'm like, I want to hit that number. But inside of our training program, it's no good just hitting the number of, let's say, the VMO squat. Let's say the VMO squat, one of our goals at one point in time in our rehab is 25% of body weight with dumbbell in front, torso completely vertical, knees going all the way out. If we then come in with the hips, we're not all the way up on the slant, and our hips take most of it, but we get that weight up. That's not what we want at all. And people will send in form videos of them doing that, even though they've done the VMO squat so many times. And they'll be like, yeah, I can up the weight. Go go to up the weight, and the form will completely break. Their elbows will be down on their knees, they'll be literally using their back to extend the weight up, and then that takes the load away from their quads, away from their knee joint, because they want to hit that number. So we really want to work at the number that we can do with the perfect form, and not just the perfect form on a few of the reps, on one of the reps, on 6 of the reps, but we want perfect form on every single one of the reps inside that set. And if we don't have that, I'm not counting that as a set. We need to lower the load and make sure that we're hitting that form perfect. Like, your ego may take a hit. Your ego may take a hit in this, but it's something that we've got to be willing to take a hit with for us to see the actual gains which we want to see. And when we do this, we actually see way more gains anyway from the way that we feel. The feedback that I've been getting off the people that come in and work with us is that their knee feels so much more stable. There's so much less pain when they go to do their plies, when they go to do their other stuff. They have so much more confidence in their knee because of the structural adaptation from the perfect reps that we're getting. Because you see, like, even the best physios, even obviously there is outliers and everything, but a lot of the people that I see that are supposed to be like experts and really, really thinking about this, they still look at stuff. You're going to look at stuff from your bias, right? So I had a knee injury, so I look at stuff from my knee bias of like, how does my knee feel during this exercise, and like how well can that handle it. Whereas if you have someone that's like quite been taught in one way, obviously there's loads of people that are open, which is really great, but even the people that are open, there's something being missed in that we don't get the joint dominance. We don't have that structural adaptation in the tissues actually within the knee, and we're just looking at peak torque on even the quads. Like, people can get super, super strong quads, but there's still pain in the patellar tendon, or there's still pain in the quad tendon, or there's still pain inside the actual knee joint. They can't bend their knee to full range of motion. And it's because people are looking at the muscle strength and not that combination of the two, which we really want to see. So we want to see the tendons working, we want to see the joints working, we want to see everything level up at the same time. And that's going to come back to that intent of like, okay, I can get this squat from A to B, or I can really use that full range of motion, pause in the bottom, super, super control that last portion, and get that structural adaptation within the knee. So it's like, I'm not using as much weight. Like, people will probably see me in the gym. Obviously, like, not many people deep squat anyway, so people are already like, oh, well, you deep squat, and that's pretty cool. But then when I do, I'm not using like tons and tons and tons of weight, but I promise you that anyone can half squat double the way that I cannot use or even double squat the way that I'm using, cannot control it the same way that I'm using in the same way. When I'm doing a squat, 4-second eccentric tempo, super, super controlling it. I'm even slowing down in that bottom portion, literally thinking about squeezing my hamstrings and my calves together. Then in the bottom, we're pausing there for 1, 2, 3 seconds. If we make that super long pause in the bottom, that structural adaptation is going to come so much more, because we're not relying on this bounce at the bottom. We're not relying on this amortization where we can just get that weight up from the bounce. And that's not necessarily a bad way to lift, but you need to do the structural adaptation as well. And definitely first, you want to do the slow stuff first and really think about, how does that knee joint feel? How am I lifting this weight? That's what it really comes back to. It's not how much weight I'm lifting, but how am I lifting this weight? And then you'll look at my standards, and the first glimpse might be, wow, these standards aren't that crazy. And then I'll see someone's form, and he'll be like, yeah, I just hit the standards, and I'll be like, you're nowhere near hitting the standards, because you've completely used your hips, or you completely like just shimmied the weight up, when we're literally thinking about perfect form, perfect tempo, perfect intent, like, and it's every rep. So when we go into the gym, like, there's a point where you can get quite lackadaisical with it, especially if you're lifting for time and time and time, like someone that's been experienced like me. There's times where I can like stop thinking about the intent, and I just go in there and I want to hit certain numbers, or I want to do this, I want to do that, and I'll forget, like, nah, it's the intent. But then you look at our mentor, like someone like Ben Patrick, is like, he's not using that much weight, but the way that he controls the weight, like, that's why he's getting the athletic gains that he is. That's why he's so strong, so powerful, so explosive, so like, he's gone from having a 20-inch vertical dab and a 40-inch vertical, because it's that kind of intent behind every single rep is so important. It can literally change the entire trajectory of your lifting career, of your knee rehab, of whatever's going on inside your body. Is having that, okay, let me really, really focus on this rep instead of just blasting the weight. Like, you can stick on really, really loud music and you'll be able to get that weight up, but in the long term, it's going to be so much worse for your joints. And that's why having something like a coach is so important, because it's like they can reel you back, or they can tell you, okay, change this, change that, you're going too fast, you're not thinking about the right thing. And it's just those tiny changes that are really going to cause that real adaptation that we're seeking, and that pain-free progression, the joint dominance and the mobility. And then when we do get back to those plyometric ability, making sure that our knee can actually handle the stuff that we're wanting to handle, rather than our hips compensating. And then we go back into our sport, and for example, like Neymar, and he clearly, his knee wasn't strong enough, the areas around his knee wasn't strong enough, went back into the sport, injured in the first game again. I think it was a hamstring pull or something like that. But it's like there's areas that we're missing, and there's things that we're neglecting. Like, it's not just about like strength, for example, or power. Like that's not the thing that we should be seeking, right? I guess it is like strength and power, but not in the way that people view it. It's that real, can I own this weight? Can I really do these plyometrics with the area that I want to use? Because, like I say, our body's super smart, and it will compensate, but it will also limit you. So there's two things that your brain will do if your area isn't competent enough. So it's not just about confidence, it's then about competence. Of like, if we actually get to the point where our knee is super strong, it can handle all the stuff with the right intent, it can handle the plyometrics, it can start to handle football as well, and we get that right gait pattern back in, then, and we're using our knee effectively, we're using our whole body how it's meant to be used, our mind's not going to be restricting us on the pitch. Like, you've probably found it if you've tried to return the sport with your knee, of like, okay, I'm sprinting, but I'm just not as fast as I used to be, and it's there's something going wrong. And it's that inhibition where you don't want to use your full force, because you know that maybe my knee will go here or my knee will go there. And then the second thing is, like, if you do then use that full force in your flow state, your body will automatically compensate with either your hip or your ankle or this. So you'll start having issues up and down the chain. You'll start, oh wow, my lower back's really sore. Oh wow, I tweaked something. Like, I'd done it so many times. Like, my ankle got really tight, my ankle started killing, and then my lower back, like, I had like this twinge in my lower back. I was seeing a chiropractor for like 3 weeks. He was like, yeah, don't go back in the gym. Like, I was like telling him, like, I want to go back in the gym. He was like, nah, you can't do it. I was like, and then I went up and Googled some stuff on YouTube. I literally fixed the issue by myself with the right lifting technique within a few weeks, when I was literally going to this guy for probably 2 months, and he was just like cracking my back, doing this and that, and then nothing was really happening. It's the same thing with my knee. Like, I avoided my knee for so long that I developed like compensation patterns. I developed loads of imbalances, and only when I found ATG and I found the intention of the training and actually putting my ego to the side, I had to do the flat ground step ups. Because if I put, like, there was a couple times I put the height at like 6 inches, 4 inches, and I put the weight up, and my knee couldn't handle it. And one, my knee got injured a couple times, but two, like, the form, if someone was checking my form, like, it would just been shabby. It would have been my hips taking all the load. So it's like, no, like, film yourself and actually see, okay, is my torso vertical? Is my quad taking this load? Is my joint taking this load? Rather than, am I getting this weight A to B? Again, like, I was just absolutely ranting here, and I hope there's a few takeaways that is really important for you. There's a few things that I want you to do. Is one, set standards. So set certain goals, certain lists that you want to get to, you know you have to get to. 2, don't accept just the A to B weight. Accept the perfect form, and if it's anything other than exactly perfect, then don't take it. Say, no, I didn't get that. Be honest with yourself. Put the ego aside. Like I said, I had to go to the lowest lows so I could get to the highest highs. And the third thing is, like, record yourself. Like, if you record your training from the side, I know it might be a bit awkward in the gym to start with, but you can just put a water bottle down on the ground, lean your phone up beside it, and take a video of yourself. You'll then see, oh my god, like, I didn't realize that that's what I look like, or this is how it went. And we get our clients to record every single session and send it into us so that we can be like, look, we have this feature, Loom, where we're literally screen recording and we're drawing stuff on there, like, you should be more like this, you should put the weight down to this much, and literally seeing exactly what they're doing and how they can actually make it way better. Because that's really the biggest benefit of, like, I was seeing my physio probably once a month, and when I was going in and seeing, he was checking me, giving me few exercises. I'll go home. One, it's like, okay, There's just a few exercises I don't really know how to progress. Like, that was one big thing that was missing, is like the progression standpoint of stuff. Like, I got to the point where I was walking fine, like everything felt all right, but then like I couldn't get back to my sport. And the second thing is, like, I didn't even know if I was doing the exercises completely right in the actual sessions. And that's the biggest thing you can get with the online coaching side of stuff. But again, went on a massive rant. I hope this helps. If you do want to dive into any of our stuff deeper, we have obviously this free education. I'm posting YouTube videos every single day. We have a free ebook which has programming, it has some principles of our training, our nutrition, different stuff, so you can actually understand how we use that properly. We have low cost programs which literally shows you how I would program someone, but again, it comes back to that, okay, when I get the form right, am I being super strict? And then if you're really serious about this kind of stuff, like, the best thing you can do is invest in something. The best thing you can do is invest in something for yourself. I'll put the screenshot up on the screen right now of someone the other day. One of my clients the other day, Kyle, he just messaged me and we were talking, and I was like, how's the progress going? He was like, not gonna lie, like, the knee is going amazing, but everything in my life is aligning. And that's really what happens when you take an investment in yourself. When you do something for yourself, not only will one part of your life get better, but all of your life will start aligning better, because you've taken this risk, because you've taken this investment in yourself. Like, we're always taught to spend our money, to spend our time. I spend my time watching this. I'll spend my money on this coffee, on this, on that. When really we need to think about how do we actually invest stuff. Like, how do I invest my time into something that's going to improve me? How do I invest my money into something that's going to get me the results, or get me to where I want to be? And Bob Proctor has this quote of, like, if you want to do something, find someone that's done it, and then listen and do exactly what they say until you either find out that they're telling lies, they don't know what they're talking about, or they didn't actually do it themselves. And as you can see all over my page, I experienced 5 years of knee pain. Kadeem experienced 7 years of knee pain, and we're here to help you the entire way there. So if you want to apply for our coaching, there's a link in the description down below. But yeah, hope this helps. Thank you for watching this far, and I'm going to keep putting out gold.